So you just quantum jumped. How do you stick your landing? The first thing you need to understand is how the brain works. I am a formally trained neuroscientist, so let me break it down. Your brain has a sophisticated processing unit that is constantly gathering information and running a simulation. This is the work of Dr. Anil Seth and others. And essentially what's happening is that you have a computational map of what your brain predicts is expected. So when you're coming from a reductionist, normal, binary society where there's only one plane of existence, there are not multiple realities, definitely not quantum shifting, what's going to happen is that your brain is going to expect that there is only one. And as a result, when you start quantum shifting, when you're coming from a framework like that, your brain, your nervous system, your body is going to go, error alert, because believe it or not, you are actually ruled by the impulses, by the information, by your hormones, by your mindset, by your subconscious programming, all of it, right? You are ruled by a sophisticated algorithm. So when we're talking about jailbreaking reality, what we're really talking about is jailbreaking your algorithm and releasing its grip on you to allow you to experience parallel worlds, ending up with another version of your apartment like I had, with a different set of keys and a different mailbox, with different neighbors, different version of my friends and my family, sometimes when I did a really big quantum leap, other times not so much, entering into parallel worlds where technology was different, where people who were supposed to recognize me couldn't recognize me even though I'd seen them almost daily for years, lots of things. But when you start to awaken, what you're going to find is that your expectations have to change. You actually have to take on an identity as a reality shifter, as a quantum jumper, as a quantum leaper. And what that does is that starts to rejigger how you see reality and how you expect it to work. But this is not an overnight process. Theoretically, you can shift into another world and get a download of memories and an identity state where this is possible. But in my experience, most people who are coming from reductionist, materialist, binary societies have a really hard time just flipping in to a different state of mind. Oh, I'm a quantum shifter now. And then seeing a different world and sticking that landing. You also need to habituate the nervous system. So you need to control your anxiety, which means you have to have really strong regulation skills. You also need to have control over your mind. You need to understand your metacognition, how you are interpreting reality, whether or not you are inserting negative explanations, like not that I'm quantum shifting, it's like who's stealing from me and who's doing this to me. That's a victim consciousness. If you are a quantum shifter and you have a high degree of victim consciousness, guess what? You're going to be in nightmare realms. I don't wish that for you. Thank God you have a snapback effect that anchors you into a baseline reality where it's not real because you don't want to go to some of those worlds. And most importantly, you need to load a new identity module. You need to actually have access to a version of you, a higher self that's in a parallel timeline, and you need to be able to load that as you're shifting because that's going to change how you interpret the world and how you interact with it, which is going to increase your chance of sticking your landing.